Welcome back. In the series of learning programming in C, in the previous video, we have already discussed about what are variables, need of variables, rules to have variable names, declaration syntax of variable, valid and invalid variable names. In today's video, we will discuss about constants in C. So those who are new to my channel, immediately subscribe to my channel and click on the bell icon so that you can get the notification of all the new videos. Constants in C. Constants are fixed values. The values of the constants are not going to be changed throughout the program. Or what we can say is, during the execution of the program, the constant values remains fixed. The programmer is going to specify the value of the constant and the compiler will know the value of the constant during compile time itself. And during the execution time, we cannot change the value of the constant. So how to have these constant values? What all values we can have as constant? So for that, we have to get into the types of constant. Constants are classified into two types: numeric constant and non-numeric constant. Numeric constants means numbers. Non-numeric, other than numbers, which is nothing but characters. So when we get into the number constant, that is numeric constants, then we have to think about what type of numbers we can store. So I can store integer numbers, which is whole numbers, or I can store floating point numbers, which are fractional numbers. Talking about the non-numeric, which is other than numbers, means characters, I can have a single character constant or I can have a string constant, which is sequence of characters. So let us get into these types of constants in detail now. Integer constant. Integer constants are whole numbers. So they are whole numbers which doesn't have a fractional part. They are the sequence of digits which can start with a positive sign or with a negative sign. If there is no sign, then by default it is considered as a positive sign. Added to this, you have three types of integer constant. So we have decimal integer constant, octal integer constant, and we have hexadecimal integer constant. So let's talk about these constants. Decimal, which stands for decimal means 10. So it is supporting 10 digits, that is from 0 to 9. So I can just call this as base 10 system. So for example, I can have a decimal integer constant, say like this, 1, 2, 3 as a decimal integer constant ranging from 0 to 9. I can say minus 2, 3, 4. So all these are valid decimal integer constant. So for example, 0, 3, 4. This is an invalid decimal integer constant because it is starting with 0. So what this decimal integer constant says? The first digit of the decimal integer constant should not be a 0. So it is an invalid constant. Talking about the octal. Octal says it is supporting totally 8 digits, that is from 0 to 7. So it is base 8 system. So it can have the sequence of digits, say for example, I'll say 3, 4, but here octal constant says the first digit should be 0. This is just to differentiate between the decimal and octal constant. So the first digit should be 0. So this is a valid octal integer constant. So I'll just have minus 0, 4, 3. So again, it is a valid octal constant. So for example, I'll write one more. I'll just say 167. This is invalid because octal constant says the first digit should be 0. Hexadecimal supports totally 16 digits. Hexa means 6, decimal means 10. Totally 16 digits. So it is from 0 to 15. So 0 to 15, 16 digits, where I can say 0 to 9 and then A to F. It can be capital A or small a to F. So here we have 0 to 9, 10 digits. Followed with that, we have A, B, C, D, E, F represented as 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 and 15. So this is what with the hexadecimal integer constant. So let me write, say this is base 16 system. So let me have some examples here. See here it says the first character or the first digit should be 0 and X, or it can be 0 and small x. Followed with that I can say 1, 2, A, F. So I just say 3, 4, F, F. So these are valid hexadecimal integer constant. So if I just write 2, F, 3, 5. Of course I have this F which is representing 15. But the starting two characters which is 0 and X is not here. So this is invalid constant. Floating point constants. Floating point constants represents numbers with fractional part. They are real numbers. So we also call these constants as literals. Constants or literals. Added to this, I can represent the floating point constants in two notations. So which are those two notations to represent the floating point constants? So we have the fractional notation and one more which is exponential notation. So in the fractional notation, we represent the floating point constants using a dot, that is decimal point. Say for example, I just write 48.67. So this is the integer part and this is the fractional part. And you have the decimal point here. So this is what the fractional notation. But this exponential notation is used to represent long numbers. So for example, if I have a very lengthy fractional number, I can use this exponential notation. And to tell the compiler that I have expressed this in exponential, we use the symbol E, small e or capital E. So for example, let me write an example for this exponential notation. Say 5.8 e minus 5. So this is equal to 5.8 into 10 to the power of minus 5. So if you just compute that, you get a very lengthy fractional number. So in order to represent this lengthy fractional number, I can use this exponent notation. So where we have this mantissa, so 5.8. So here I have 5.8 which is mantissa, we call it as mantissa. Followed with that, we have the exponent value. And this exponent value can be a negative or it can be a positive value. So the effective value of the number is nothing but the mantissa multiplied with the 10 to the power of its exponent. So then we get the lengthy fractional number. So in order to represent long numbers, we use this exponential notation. Character constant. Character constant is nothing but a single character which is enclosed in single quotes. Say for example, I just say ye. So this is a single character which is enclosed in single quote. And the compiler is going to convert these characters into its ASCII values, American Standard Code for Information Interchange. So we have a set of ASCII values for each and every key press from the keyboard. Every character is associated with its ASCII values. Say the ASCII value A for capital A it is 65, B 66, it goes on up to 90 for capital Z. Say for the lowercase a it is from 97, then B 98, it goes on up to Z which is 122. Then for the digits 0 to 9, we have the ASCII value from 48 to 57. So these are all the ASCII values which will be converted when a character is enclosed in single quote. Along with this, we also have some special character constants which is to manipulate the output screen. So we call them as escape sequences. So we have escape sequences which is used to manipulate the output screen. Say for example, I just want to display the data with some tab space. The data has to come to the new line, next line. So we use some escape characters or escape sequences and we represent that with backward slash followed with a character say N which stands for new line. I say backward slash T which stands for tab space. So like this we make use of some escape sequences. So it is also the character constant. String constant. So string constants are nothing but sequence of characters which are enclosed in double quotes. So they are enclosed in double quotes. Say for example, say yes, I need to enclose this in double quotes. And by default, the compiler is going to add a special character at the end of this character which is null character. This null character indicates the end of the string. So when the null character is encountered by the compiler, it gets to know that we are at the end of the string. So null character indicates the end of string. So this is what with the string constant. So we just have to have the character array to represent the string constant because we need to provide a sequence of characters and we need to enclose that in double quotes. So this is string constant. Let us see how to define these constants. So we can define the constants in two ways. The first method, I can have a symbolic constant. So what is this symbolic constant? The symbolic constants can be defined in definition section of the program. So we have something called as definition section which is written before the main. We'll discuss about this in detail when we talk about the structure of C program. So let us talk how we are going to define it now. So we use the preprocessor directive that is ash and we say ash define. Followed with that we have the name of the constant. Say for example, I need to define the constant value for pi. I say 3.14. So this is how we have the symbolic constants. So we should have ash define the preprocessor directive and then followed with that we will have the constant name and then the value. And make sure that you don't put any equal to and no semicolon, and these symbolic constant name should be always in uppercase. That is the rule for symbolic constant. The other way to define the constant is we can have named constant. So what is this named constant? So this named constant is created using the keyword const. Const is the keyword. Followed with that we will have the data type. So for example, I just say float. I just say x equal to 2.3. So this value 2.3 is fixed for the variable x, and this remains a constant value, and I cannot change this value even during the execution of the program. And if I just try to change this value x equal to 10.2, then you get an error, because the constant that what we have defined here is treated as a named constant, and it cannot be changed during the execution of the program. So this is what the named constant. So we can define the constant in these two ways. It may be symbolic constant, that is in the definition section of the program through #define, and the named constant, that is using the keyword const. So once we declare the value or define the value with the keyword const, we cannot change that during the execution of the program. So these are few valid and invalid constants. So that's all for today's video. Hope you have understood with the constant values, the different constant values that what we can have. Please subscribe to my channel, like the video. See what happens. We will be watching the video, but we will forget to click on the like button. So please like the video. So your likes, your subscription will be the motivation for us, and we will come up with more videos. Till then, take care. Bye-bye.